Hi and welcome to your Predatar tutorial video. Today I'll be looking at the home page and widget screen. My name is Seb Barfield, I'm technical engineer at Predatar. And today I'll just be showing you about this area in Predatar, something that you will instantly see when you log into the portal and something you can make really good use of and something you get really good insights into your backup environment. The first screen you will be presented with is a summary screen when you log in. So this gives you 6 tiles, and those 6 tiles consist of petabytes managed. So this is your current data being managed within your Spectrum Protect environment or Spectrum Protect Plus environment, and it'll add basically if you've got a replication environment set up, you might have a single server, you may have 8 servers. So this collects all that information together and shows you the total amount of data that is under management and what Predatar is looking at. Second tile is open tickets. So within your environment, you might have some tickets that are in progress through Predatar. So things like backup failures, any issues with Spectrum Protect servers, or any other issues that Predatar has picked up on. With customer, so you can see with customer, this is with Silverstring itself. So this is any tickets you may have raised to ourselves for our support team to work on and get help with. And then with third party. So with third party is where Silverstring have push that off to maybe IBM or a third-party support with one of your suppliers, and you can just see that there. So it just gives you a quick overview of the amount of tickets that are in progress with the customer with third party. Then we have SLA backup success rate. So you have a percentage of 0s, 4s, and 8s in the last 30 days. So this is all your completed statuses. You have various return codes and stuff, but this is basically anything that is completed, it will show that. So we've got a 98% backup success rate. Obviously, the higher to 100 it is, the better it is in terms of keeping your data backed up. And then your points usage. So points used in the last 30 days, you can see, so you may have points within or with Silverstring itself, and through the points usage here, it just gives you an overview of how many points have actually been spent on or within your contract, and you can have a quick overview there. You might be able to have a look at that and go, maybe it's more than we expected, maybe it's less than expected, but it just gives you a quick overview there. And then moving on to recovery. So recoveries, you'll get to see things like your failed and completed recovery success rate, and you get a percentage on there. Again, we haven't done any recoveries on this environment that I'm looking at, but you will have a little pie chart which will tell you you completed to your failures. And then contract renewal, just a quick thing just to say, look, this is when your contract is up for renewal and what it's going to be, or what date it's going to be renewed on. So you can see there, this one here is 3rd September 2039, for example. So what we're going to do is, within this screen, you don't have just a summary. So what I've done is create a tab to the top left called Top 9 Dashboard Widgets, and we're going to click into that. And what you do is you have access to around 24 widgets in total, and this collectively gives you information on all your Spectrum Protect servers in total, and you can see what's going on in the environment. It's a quick snapshot. It's something really insightful into your environment, but it doesn't take a lot of time to set up or even configure. And what you can do from here is have these set up where you can see them on the screen. So for instance, you can have this on a dashboard or a screen within the office looking like this, where you've got rid of your outline of your browser that you're using, and you can have these 9 here, for example. So what we're going to do is, you can see here we've got most exposed clients, client schedules, and VE. So the top 9 dashboard widgets, I personally think are really good, really insightful, something you could have up on a screen in the office, at home, for example, if you do work from home. And you can look at things like client schedules and VE backups, so you can see what your success rate is over the last 7 days. Data stored, look at your total environment. Obviously that is on the summary screen, but it's something you might want to keep an eye on a day-to-day basis and just have it all there as a snapshot. Data transferred, so this is the data transferred in the last 90 days, for example, and 178 terabytes was transferred over the last 90 days with my environment. Database backup, capacity utilization. So this is basically looking at what's your total database utilization across your servers you have, and what max used and what is free. The key thing here is making sure that your free amount is not less than, say, 10% or 15%, because you want to keep an eye on your capacity of your database. So something like that is really insightful, because you can look at that and say, okay, my use yesterday, I could see it was 25%, coming tomorrow, it's jumped up to 35%. That's a 10% increase. You might start getting concerned about it. You might wonder why it's growing at an exponential rate. But again, it just gives you a quick idea. And then a nice thing about database one here is when the free goes under the amount that's specified within the portal, it will then show it in red. So just highlight in red and just say, look, this is under your specified threshold, and you need to do something about it, basically. Moving on, we've got the largest data transfers. Another one that I do think is really key. This just looks at the most amount of data per node that's being transferred within your environment. So again, it's looking at so for here, we've got this aggregate node on SP-BAD02, and your gigabyte transfer rate is a petabyte. Oh, sorry, not a petabyte, a terabyte. And this terabyte may seem normal to you, or you might look at it and go, oh, maybe that node's actually 200 gig. Why is it transferring a terabyte? Or you might look at that and say, okay, why is it doing something? It could be an exponential amount. It could be a server that usually transfers maybe 100, 200 gig a day, and then suddenly hits 1,000, and you're thinking, the daily rate of change shouldn't be that. Has someone added a drive out temporarily? So someone's left a USB drive plugged in and it's gone, okay, I'll back that up as well. Or it could be anything where you're just backing up unneeded drives or anything like that. Longest running backups, again, really key one here is just looking at what is taking a long time. So in terms of this widget is you want to make sure things are backing up within a certain window, and this highlights anything that's outside the longest time that's in your environment. This could be, like, as you can see here, 31 hours, 29 hours, 17 hours, but you might look at that and go, wait, that node should back up within 4. Why is it taking 16 hours? And then you might find you've got an issue with a server or a problem with the client itself, or you might be a case that it's taking that long because it's just, there's something going on, a network issue. And it's something that just gives you another pinpoint into your environment. You can go, okay, I want to look into that. Most exposed clients. So the top 5 most exposed clients in the last 7 days, I think another key one. Again, you do get some variables in here in terms of you might have some clients that still have the file spaces there. You have stopped it backing up, but it is just sat there waiting to expire the data. You might find those in here. But in key, if you know your environment well enough, then you'll know, and you can pick out some of the names here. So this is the last 7 days, but you could, if you wanted to, again, with any of these other reports, is set these days from 7, 30, 90, but I'll show you how to do that in a second. But looking at the most exposed clients, you might want to see and go, okay, I thought that backup was actually backing up. Someone might have excluded it from a scheduled backup, and it's something you might be concerned of. And if it is meant to be backed up and you're seeing it listed in here and you see, okay, it hasn't backed up for 84 hours, that's a big concern, because you're expecting to have a day-to-day backup for that, for example. And if it hasn't backed it up for 84 hours, then you've missed 3, 4, nearly 5 days worth of information. And if you had lost that server within that 5 days, you could potentially lose a lot of data, depending on what node it is, or any node, for example. Moving on, nodes with top growth rates. So again, capacity is a huge thing in the backup industry as such, and the growth rates are something that is key to look at. So this is looking at, on a node by node basis, what are your nodes with the highest growth rate? So something that Predatar's gone, okay, this node, but behind the scenes, what it does is over time, over 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, because Predatar keeps its data for up to 7 years, is it will start to show you trends. It will start to show you your growth rates. And what this will do here is, this is the last 30 days, you can set this higher, but it will just say, okay, in the last 30 days from last month, this has grown by 116% here. And if this node, say, this is 639 gig, but it could be a case that what if this was 6 terabytes and this is growing 100% month on month, that's when you need to potentially look into this node. You might expect that growth because of what the node is, but you might look at it and go, why is it growing by 100%? It could be 200%, it could be growing by 10%, but what is your expected growth? What did you expect it to grow by? What did the application owner expect it to grow by? And again, this gives you a quick insight and shows you what nodes are there. Just straight on one screen, you can have a look at that. You don't have to delve into any of the analytics reports, it's there on your screen. Repeating backup issues. So another one that I do think is really good, especially looking from a BAU perspective, looking at where you might have a couple of days where you haven't been able to look at your backup failures. But what this does here is this is a top 10 client missed and failed backups in the last 30 days. So what this shows you here is how many times has that failed and how many issues has that had. So it could be missed, it could be failed, and a total issue. So for instance, the top one, we've had it fail 7 times in the last 30 days. So again, this could be a concern. You can see here we've got some other little backups here, and you can see, say, the SQL Server here could be these 7 failed, could be to do with log backups, for example. But it could be a node that it could be a high priority node in your environment if maybe it's failed a few times in a month. And again, it's just something to give you a quick insight and just have a look at what's going on with your backup issues and just anything that is failing quite a few times in a month, because ideally you want to just have backups running continuously at 100%, but you do have the odd problem. And sometimes things like this will give you that insight where you go, okay, I'll look into that node and see what days potentially it's failing on. Is there a pattern? Is it a case of an overrunning backup from the previous night or anything like that? And it's just, again, all these widgets are here to give you a quick insight without having to click into a load of reports, not having to log into an admin command line or anything like that. And it just goes, okay, this is your information, and these are my top 9 dashboard widgets. And I think they're really valuable. It's something like I've done here is expanded the screen so you could see everything on one screen, and you can have this up in your office, at home on another screen, or on just on a tab where you can just have a quick look at it in the morning. And this is the thing as well with these widgets is you can have this scheduled as a daily report. So these 9 widgets, what you can do here is go to export to PDF. So you could export this as it is here into a PDF, and you can have that and send that out if you wanted to, or you could set a schedule to run for this report. So we're going to click the little clock. We're going to go here. We're going to click add to the top right. We're going to give it a title. So we're going to call this our dashboard. Time to generate report. So we come in at 9 o'clock. Say we want this report at 9:30. I'm going to do it, let's say, weekly, and we want it every Monday, for instance. So most of our widgets are set to 7 days. So we think, okay, on every Monday, I want a snapshot of what happened that previous week. You might go, I want to have it on Friday. So it's the end of the week. Okay, what's happened during that week? So we'll go from Monday. We're going to enable the schedule here. What you can do here is specify a list of email addresses. So this could be a distribution email. This could be someone who hasn't got access to Predatar itself. So you can put anything in there. Separate the email addresses by comma. And then you can also select Predatar user recipients here as well. So if they've got access, or yourself's got access to Predatar, obviously if you're in here and you're configuring this, then you can just tick your user. So for instance, I'm Seb Barfield, so I'm going to tick myself and I want this report. Then what you can do is pick the dashboard tiles. So this is where you'll see all the different tiles in a row. And then what you do is just pick the tiles you want. So you might go, okay, my top 9 dashboards, okay, they're good on the wall. They're informative, but I might want something a bit more intuitive in my weekly report. You might go, okay, I definitely want my schedules, client schedule and feed backup. I want to have a look at what data has been transferred over the week. I want to look at things like my largest data transfers, longest running backups, most exposed clients, my top 5 nodes with highest hot factor, for instance, maybe. You could look at total number of backups ran in the last 3 months. Things like old client versions, something I haven't touched on. old client version is a really key one, because you could set your Predator to say anything under a certain version, I need to report on that. So what this does is it will just show you all the old client versions and how many clients are per version of Spectrum Protect client. It could be TDP for SQL, for Oracle, it could be SP for VE, for example. So this just gives you a quick idea of what, or gives you an overview of your entire state, and just says, okay, these are still on 6.4, these are on 7.1, you've got someone on 8.1.7, for example. And that's when you go, okay, these 6.4, they're going to be out of support soon, or they are already out of support, and we need to upgrade them as soon as possible. So then what you do is just pick the little tiles, names you've got here, and say, okay, protection as well, and then just click done. And then you've got your dashboard report daily that will send out at 9:30 every Monday. But again, you can set up whenever. You could have one every day. You could set it at once a month, for example, and you could just do that. So that is your dashboard report. And just one thing to touch on is, obviously I've got these top 9 dashboard widgets here. To create your own tab, you can have as many tabs as you want. Is you can click the little plus icon here called tab. We could call this protection, for example. Click done. And then we've got another tab here. So you can have as many tabs as you want across this top screen. So you could do one for protection, you could do one for database, you could do one for a top 10 report if you wanted to. So it could be a top 10. So it could be top 10, hog factor, top 10, growth rate, things like that. So once you've got your tab, just to touch on this, is you can go to add tile, and you get presented again with a similar screen that you had on the report side of things. So from here, what we're going to do for protection, we're going to go, okay, what do we need for protection in terms of client schedules and VE backups? Let's go into that. So let's scroll down and then find things like most exposed clients. We could also look at repeating backup issues, and then we can look at the protection report as well. So we can add these 4 little reports in here, and then they just get presented and populated on the screen here. So you can create as many tabs as you want. You could do variations, and these are specific to your user. So this isn't a case of, if you created this, it will be shown on every user that has access to Predator for your company. This will just show it for yourself. So you can create as many tabs as you want and be more specific. You might go, okay, I want a snapshot of these 4. I'll put them in a tab and then have to show that. So you might have multiple screens where you just want to have a look at a few things. So it's key just to have a look at them and just see what you want in terms of snapshot of information. But thank you for your time in watching the video. This has been on Tiles and Homepage and utilizing the widget screen. My name is Seb Barfield from Predator, and if you do have any queries or are looking to get a quick demo or a quick overview on Predator to tighten up your skills, then please do email support@predator.com or do speak to your account manager, who will be able to arrange that accordingly. So thank you for your time, and goodbye.